Elden Ring has officially been out for 1 year now and is still continuing to impact the gaming landscape. So in honor of its 1 year anniversary, I want to talk about how Elden Ring has and will continue to impact the gaming world, sharing some of my own personal experience with the game as well as the #1 reason why I believe Elden Ring is truly the pinnacle of gaming. As someone who had never touched a Souls game before Elden Ring, I remember seeing all the trailers and promos and thinking, wow, that game looks pretty sick, only to find out that it was a Souls game and get immediately discouraged and think, well, too bad, I won't play it, but good for those Souls players. Once it released, though, the hype did not stop by any means and actually just escalated. Elden Ring was literally everywhere and it hit the gaming scene like Radahn hit you on their first or 20th attempt fighting him. It seemed like everyone from their moms to their grandmas were playing it and I just couldn't get away. Streamers and YouTubers that I had followed for years but I had never seen touch a Souls game were playing it and having a blast. And as time went on, more and more people got their hands on it and it seemed like there was just something special about this game. After selling more than 12 million copies within its first 2 weeks, which is insane, it was crystal clear this game was not going anywhere. And by September of 2022, 7 months after release, it had sold over 17.5 million copies, making it the fastest selling multi-platform Japanese game of all time. And it went on to win Game of the Year at the Game Awards, where they even had someone cosplay as a real-life invader to celebrate. I still can't believe that happened. You know what else I can't believe? The sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. If you don't know what HelloFresh is, it's a food delivery service where you get fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Not only is it less expensive than just going to the grocery store or going out to eat, it's also really easy to follow all the recipes. I personally have used them in the past, and honestly every meal that I cooked was better than anything I could have done on my own. And they actually have a new lineup of meals called the Fast and Fresh recipes, where they can be ready in less than 15 minutes, which is amazing. These meals include things like falafel power bowls, steak and potatoes, pork and bean burritos. With the way the economy is right now, HelloFresh is definitely the way to go if you're looking to save money on groceries or takeout, because all their meals are really high quality and it'll feel like you're going out to dinner. If all that sounds interesting to you, you can try HelloFresh today by clicking the link down below for a special limited time discount and free shipping, and enjoy some easy to make, delicious meals delivered right to your doorstep. Now back to the video. The overarching narrative from practically every reviewer was that FromSoft had somehow created the most approachable Souls game without compromising its difficulty. It seemed like they had achieved an impossible goal, creating a shining example of the formula that they had been perfecting for 12 years, starting with Demon Souls in 2009 and progressing through the Dark Souls series, Bloodborne, and Sekiro, all while allowing it to be an approachable game for the casual gamer like myself. Now, I'm not going to act like I have some massive history or extra special appreciation for the intricacies of FromSoft's design and how they perfected and built on the format in each game leading up to Elden Ring, because I don't. Elden Ring is the only game that I've beaten at this point, and I'm currently working my way through Dark Souls Remastered. I just finally beat the gargoyles, baby, but did I ask Solaire for help? Maybe, that's aside the point. Plus, there are people that have made better videos going into detail about all of that, so if you want to hear more about that side of Elden Ring, I'll link some of my favorite channels and videos down below. We've all heard this by now, but I'm going to say it again anyways. The main way FromSoft made this game so approachable is, of course, its open world design. In creating an open world, FromSoft allowed the players to not only go wherever they wanted, but also face challenges at their own pace. The game's first mini-boss, in the form of the infamous Tree Sentinel, is clearly made with this concept in mind. He's extremely tough, and is there to make the player realize that unlike previous Soul games, you can just turn around if you want to, which is exactly what I did after dying like once, but all good. On the other side of this though, you also have players who enjoy dying hundreds of times to a boss and decided to face the Tree Sentinel with nothing but their starting gear. Now, not everyone will agree with me here, but I really think that both styles of play are equally acceptable. Some people would argue that banging your head up against the wall is the only way to play these Soul games, but I don't think that's the case. And I think the fact that in Elden Ring you can choose either approach is kind of what FromSoft was really going for. And this was made even more evident by the insane variety Elden Ring has to offer with its build crafting. Build crafting is honestly one of the biggest things that has kept this game alive besides mods, and even now, a full year later, I am still seeing videos about new builds and combinations of spells and weapons that make me want to hop back into my original save. And speaking of my save, as I mentioned, Elden Ring was my first Souls game. But what I didn't mention is that prior to its release, I actually didn't even know what a Souls game was. Sure, I had heard of Dark Souls and its infamous difficulty, but that was all I knew. I didn't know anything about staple mechanics such as bonfires, rolling, combat spacing, and of course, the infamous weight stat. All I knew was that these games were hard, and that someone like me, who pretty exclusively played single-player story-based games and Destiny, could never even think about playing something like this, much less beating it. But I just couldn't get away, and everything I saw from this game kept intriguing me. The world design and the combat looked just right up my alley, and as I saw more and more videos of people struggling and succeeding with the game, even the difficulty became something I kinda wanted to try on my own. Unfortunately for me, I only had an Xbox One at the time, and couldn't really run it with 20 FPS and 940p, so I couldn't really play. However, when 6 months later I was building my own PC in order to up my editing game for my job, I had in the back of my mind the goal of giving Elden Ring a shot. But because of my inexperience with Souls games, I was worried that I would spend the money, not like it, and be out $60 or $70. I was actually so concerned about that when I did buy the game, I literally set a timer to make sure I wouldn't go over Steam's playtime limit for returns. Yeah, I really needed that $60, okay? But after pretty easily making my way through the tutorial, I found myself thinking, am I actually good enough to play a Souls game? While I immediately got that thought knocked out of my head by the tree sentinel and this ugly troll in the beginning, it didn't really matter. The moment I first stepped into Limgrave, I was unknowingly hooked. A part of me I had never known was there began to come out, and I wanted to keep trying these bosses. Well, not the tree sentinel, I'm definitely the one who turned around after the one time. And actually, my first experience with victory in this game was against the starting troll in this area. I fought him over and over and over again until I went and explored a bit more, leveled up once or twice, got Torrent, and then came back with a renewed motivation and eventually beat him, only to find out that it was just a normal enemy that would just respawn. But I honestly didn't care. The thrill of victory after all those tries was incredible, which I would go on to learn is kind of what these games are all about at their core, but I already made a video on that, so if you want to hear my thoughts, be sure to check that out. From here on, I was addicted. The size of this map blew my mind before I even found out there were like 3 other areas, and they were all massive, like what the mess, FromSoft. The experience of exploring unmapped areas while trying to unravel this insanely detailed and often hidden lore was incredible, and I found myself looking into Reddit forums and YouTube content creators for clues on where to go, or build guides which would lead me to areas or quests in the game that I didn't even know existed. Like, I had no idea that there were any other quests in the game besides Rani or Blythes until I was literally halfway through the game, and half the other quests were already locked out or the characters were dead. But these curiosities would always lead me to get lost and explore more, and that process would keep repeating itself even after I would beat the game. And this leads me into the one reason why I truly think this game is a pinnacle of modern gaming: the community. Because of both the open world nature of Elden Ring and my newest to the genre, I often found myself in need of some extra guidance. I would often find myself wanting to seek out a character or a location, but having no idea really where to start. So of course I turned to YouTube for a nudge in the right direction, and honestly, it was the best thing I could have ever done. Elden Ring has led me to find so many creators and communities on both YouTube and Twitch that I would have never found otherwise. Zanny, Ember, and this guy whose name I can't pronounce are my most frequented sources among countless others. The Elden Ring community as a whole was extremely helpful in my playthrough. Mostly. I mean, of course there are a few classic gatekeepers here and there, but that's just expected. I felt like I could not only find the answer to whatever questions I had, but more importantly, find the encouragement to keep going, to keep exploring, and to never go hollow. I kept seeing that phrase pop up, and not knowing what that meant, I looked it up, and basically found the whole world of Souls games all at once. I stumbled upon the hundreds of video essays on how those games have impacted so many people in unique ways. One of the first videos I saw was from a channel named Ember and their personal experience of how Dark Souls saved them and helped them with difficult times, a theme that I saw echoed throughout this community, and one I found I highly resonated with without me realizing it. On days when my depression was keeping me down and my motivation was at its lowest, I found playing this game and taking a step to beat a boss or to complete a quest or do something that I didn't think I could do gave me more motivation in my real life. And 1 year later, both Elden Ring and its incredible community is still going strong, and that is the #1 reason why I believe it is the pinnacle of gaming. The FromSoft Souls community is one that of course has its issues like any other, but is also one that can resonate with so many people if they give the games a chance. And ultimately, Elden Ring is that chance. It's an easy opening for people to experience what makes Souls game tick in the best, most enjoyable, and approachable format for new players that FromSoft have presented so far. It brought people into the beautifully haunting world of Souls games with the intense challenges and sweet victories they have to offer, and I couldn't be more grateful. And as of the time of this video, no DLC has been announced, but fingers crossed. It's pretty much a certainty at this point given the game's success, but that aside, one thing is for sure. Elden Ring is phenomenal, and FromSoft somehow gave us the best open world game we've ever seen in their first go, while simultaneously introducing a whole new player base to the wonder of Souls games, myself included. I'm sure that its impact and legacy will continue to grow, and that the game will no doubt be an example to both developers and companies of what makes a wonderfully beautiful and challenging game, and prompt the world to think, we need more games like Elden Ring. Thank you for watching, and don't you dare go hollow.